I want you to live until your knights take you to Avalon. There you will give the sword to the Watcher who is there now. Restore the balance." Arthur weakly shook his head. "I cannot do that. If you don't, I will let you die here and take the sword myself. You came here to restore the truce. Let the Watchers take the sword back. They will restore the balance for you." "Who are you?" Arthur demanded. "You've worked both sides of this conflict, betraying me and also betraying Mordred. Whom do you serve?" "Humans." Arthur said nothing for several seconds, digesting the implications of that answer. "You're a Watcher?" "I'm more than a Watcher," Morgana replied. "Give the sword to the Watcher of Avalon." Arthur's eyelids fluttered, his mind on the edge of unconsciousness. "Who are you?" he asked again weakly. Morgana didn't answer, and the eyes slid shut. She shoved the last piece of cloth into the final wound, staunching the seepage of blood. "This will help," she said. She looked up at Percival. "Take him to Avalon." Percival's eyes widened. "The island is said to be haunted." "Take him there," Morgana said. "It's your only hope for him." She turned in the direction that Gawain had been said to lie. "Where do you go?" Percival demanded. "To make sure Mordred is finished." As soon as Morgana was gone into the dark mist, Percival issued orders for 4 other knights to lift the stricken king. As they did so, Percival took the beautiful sword that had lain across the king's chest. Excalibur, the object that had started all this just a few years earlier. Despite battle, its edges were unmarked and keen. The pommel was unadorned, unlike many other great swords, but there was no doubting the sense of power and strength emanating from the weapon. Percival wrapped it in his cloak and held it tight as they moved to the north, heading toward the legendary island of Avalon. Morgana felt the pull of duty warring with the draw of love as she moved toward the diminishing sound of the fighting. If what Percival said was true, and there was no reason to disbelieve him, as Percival was the noblest and most honest of the knights who had sat at the Round Table, then there was no rush to get to Gawain. Still, her eyes darted about in the mist, looking for his body as she walked toward the clash of metal and men locked in mortal combat. A figure staggered out of the mist. A knight, his hands to his visor, blood spewing through the metal gap. He'd taken a blow through the visor slit and was now wandering blindly, moaning in pain. He would shortly be food for carrion crows. Soon she passed other wounded men limping and crawling their way back the way they had come. None she passed were unmarked, a testament to the ferocity of the fighting. Here and there she recognized a knight. Once, to her left, she saw a handful of peasants ripping armor off a prone figure, vultures stripping the dead of anything valuable. Soon she began to find more bodies. They were grouped in clusters, indicating spots where the lines had met. Some had died arm in arm with their foes, the last embrace of combat. Morgana paused and took a deep breath. Something was different. She cocked her head and listened. There was no longer any sound of fighting. The battle was over, though who had won she suspected not even the survivors knew yet. She heard muffled voices somewhere ahead and set off in that direction. The land began to rise, and the swamp gave way to grassland. She passed a few tents and knew she was entering Mordred's camp. He had set up on the west side of the swamp, Arthur's army on the east, and somewhere in that swamp, among the dead trees and rotting vegetation, was Merlin's lair, which both armies had been seeking in their quest to find the Grail. Morgana spotted several standing knights, blue sashes tied around their upper right arms, indicating they were part of Mordred's army. Encased inside armor suits, many made by the same metalsmiths who worked for pay, not loyalty, it was hard in combat to tell friend and foe apart, so each army had taken to wearing their leader's colors, Mordred's blue and Arthur's royal red. She noted that 2 of them had eagle plumes on the top of their helmets, indicating they were part of Mordred's elite guard. Guides. She would have to watch those 2 in particular. The knights were hovering over a prone figure in a once shining suit of armor. Etched into the metal on the chest was an intricate design of flying dragons that no armorer in England was capable of making. Mordred. Morgana knew that armor well. She walked into the camp as if she belonged. Without a word, the knights gave way, allowing her